We're getting a major next-gen Xbox upgrade. What is up, y'all, and welcome to Xbox Ready, my YouTube channel that is all about Xbox. I'm Ray, and if you've been following me for a while, you know how this goes. I get on here multiple times a week to talk the latest Xbox news, rumors, games, everything going on in the world of Xbox. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how this one Xbox move is going to give us fans more options than ever heading into next generation. Then we'll move on to some questions I have about how Xbox handles its exclusive games following the release of the PlayStation 5 version of Indiana Jones. Let's be real, from the outside looking in, Xbox has been doing a lot of confusing things, especially over the past year. Last February, when they went on the Xbox official podcast and were like, yep, we're bringing some exclusive games or former exclusive games over to other platforms, people have been like, what's the deal? Over a year has passed since that appearance on the Xbox official podcast, and while there are some people who are getting used to the idea, they're still doing a lot of confusing things. A lot of people are asking themselves, what is the reason to own an Xbox anymore? Or what's the reason to buy the next-gen Xbox console? People are literally DMing me that, like, Ray, I don't know, I'm thinking about jumping ship to PlayStation 6. I just don't see the point anymore now that there's not going to be exclusives. Some people are even saying, well, what's the point of Xbox making consoles anymore? Why not just skip the whole thing, do the Game Pass stuff, ship your games on other platforms, focus on cloud gaming? Why bother with hardware? Listen, there may come a time, I've talked about this on the channel a few times before, that Microsoft decides to stop making Xbox consoles, but it is not that day yet. In fact, it's looking like we're gonna have more hardware options than ever before. Even amidst all of these reports that Xbox console sales are down, they're down, they keep going down, Microsoft has decided to release other versions of the Series X and S. The all-white digital one, the Galaxy Black 2TB one, the Carbon Black Series S. Heading into next generation, it's looking like we're getting two SKUs, two different consoles as well, a handheld and a regular flagship one that may or may not have Steam. And to go along with that theme, now that Xbox is the brand that's all about options, it's looking like that philosophy is also extending to their controller lineup as well. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's already a ton of Xbox controllers out there already. Every month we get like a new color, a new variant of some kind. But bear with me for a second because this bit of news that we got regarding 3 new prototypes for Xbox controllers actually sounds kind of cool. On a recent episode of Xbox 2, Jez Corden and Randall Thor's podcast, Jez mentioned that from his understanding, Xbox is working on 3 separate Xbox controller prototypes. A low-tier, budget-friendly option, a mid-tier one, and an elite, or a possible Elite Series 3 controller. He believes that top one, the Elite, is gonna be the one that has direct-to-cloud connectivity, and that there will literally be a switch where you choose, oh, I'm gonna connect to the cloud, and oh, I'm gonna make this controller connect to a console or a PC. In terms of an announcement, he doesn't know when that's gonna happen, but that it's possible it could be announced next year, or whenever they reveal the next-gen Xboxes. This is pretty surprising to me because I was under the impression that the next Xbox controller that we were gonna see, like the real new Xbox controller, not a different color, not a different variant of the Elite Series 2. No, the real next-gen Xbox controller was gonna be Sibil, the thing that we saw in those Xbox leaks back in 2023. The controller with pants. A lot of the features detailed in that leak and in this patent that we believe is related to Sibil that came out not too long after, a lot of the things that were detailed in that leak, in that patent, they sounded really cool. A great way for Microsoft to take the Xbox controller we've all come to know and love and bring it into the next generation, especially with the stuff about the haptics, the wake to lift feature, the direct to cloud connectivity. The only problem is that all of these features, although cool, it sounds like they would make the controller a little bit expensive. Definitely more expensive than the $60, $70 wireless controllers that we know now. Xbox working on a 3 controller lineup for next generation, that makes total sense because that's what they're doing in every other aspect of their business. They're trying to give us options. Cheaper Xboxes, all digital ones if you don't care about physical discs. Hey, you don't even want an Xbox console, you can play Xbox games on your TV through this app. As I said earlier in the video, they have tons of controller options out there already. The standard wireless controller, the Elite Series 2, hey, and you don't want to spend all this money on regular Elite Series 2, we got the Elite Series 2 Core. It makes sense heading into next generation, they would give us that same amount of flexibility with our controllers. Hey, if you don't care about cloud gaming or anything fancy, we have the standard wireless controller. It's our cheap cheapest option and it has like everything that you need to enjoy our Xbox games, like those haptics. But if you want something a little bit more, but not the fanciest in the world, we got that mid-tier option. And then of course we have something like the Elite Series 3 if you're willing to spend like $250 on a controller. I believe that these haptics that we're hearing so much about, they're gonna be in every version of their new controller lineup. Direct to cloud connectivity, cutting down on that controller input lag when you play cloud games, that seems important to them. I feel like that would be introduced in that middle tier as well. And then up at the top, you would see a lot of the features that we are already used to when it comes to our Pro controllers, the Elite controllers. Back paddles, a rechargeable case. But to make it truly premium, I think they're definitely going to add Hall effect sensors in their sticks for the Elite Series 3. They're becoming way more common nowadays. I have them on a couple of way cheap like 8-bit dough controllers. And you better believe that all of the controllers that you've amassed over this past generation, or even in the Xbox One generation maybe, those are going to be compatible with these next-gen Xbox consoles. For better or for worse, this is who Xbox is now. They're about giving us options, and that is not something that the other platform holders are doing. Over at Sony, they're like, if you want to play our games, buy a PlayStation 5 or wait till our games come out on PC a couple of years later. Same thing with Nintendo. They do have, you know, take it on the go with you or dock it on the TV. PlayStation, sort of, with the PlayStation Portal, maybe you can make that same argument. But over on Xbox, they're really leaning into it. You want to play your games on console, PC, cloud, on your phone. You want to buy a cheap Xbox, you want to buy an expensive Xbox, cheap controller, expensive controller. I like that they're leaning into that. Whether or not that's appealing to you, that's a different story. Maybe you're like, no, I like the old school way. I buy an Xbox, I have my controller, hook it up to my TV, and that's that. I don't plan on using remote play. I don't plan on using cloud gaming. I don't plan on gaming on PC. Those are all things that I use on a regular basis though, so I'm excited about this new controller lineup. I definitely see myself going for middle tier or high tier Xbox controller. What I'm most interested in here is this potential Elite Series 3, the Elite. By far, the controller that I've used the most over the past couple of years is my Elite Series 2 Core. Prior to having this controller, I never used a Pro controller or anything, and I've used it so much that it feels weird switching back to a standard gamepad. I've gotten so used to those back paddles and having my thumbs on the sticks at all times, especially in games where you have to manipulate the camera and move around at the same time. I love the build quality of this thing. It feels solid with those rubberized grips. The fact that we're potentially getting an improved version of that with better haptics, direct-to-cloud connectivity, that could be the controller I use for like the next 8 years at least. Because I have used this on console, on PC, on cloud. If I can have something that really tunes into all of those different aspects of the Xbox ecosystem, I'm making that investment, even if it's like $200, $250. If I know it's something I'm gonna use day in, day out, I'm willing to pay that as long as it holds up. I don't wanna break it and have it run out of warranty, buy another one. I know that a lot of people have questions about the durability of the Elite Series 2. I haven't really had problems with mine. I had a little issue with my right bumper. It got fixed right away. Haven't had a problem with it since. So I'm curious to see, yes, it'd be cool to see all of these things that we're seeing in the Sibil leak and the patent and stuff in that Elite Series 3, but how are they going to modify the build quality? Can we expect it to be more durable? Can we expect it to have the same battery life that we have on the Elite Series 2, now that it's supporting all sorts of new stuff? This is a great move on Microsoft's part heading into next generation. They're not bottlenecking us into using one single controller. I am curious as to which one would be bundled in the next flagship Xbox. Probably that cheaper one. Let's be honest, the Essentials one. Again, I like this move. More options is better for us as fans. Do you want to play with a fancy controller, a cheaper controller? They're all gonna have everything you need to enjoy our games, to enjoy our product, but you can pick which one is best suited for your needs. It fits really well into their current philosophy, and it's so interesting to think about because these controllers, they're gonna be every bit as important as the console's next generation. Next up, let's talk about Indiana Jones, specifically the PlayStation 5 version. If you need a little bit of a reminder, Indiana Jones was an Xbox exclusive game. It came out in December. But we always knew that it was going to get a PlayStation 5 version. They announced it when they revealed the release date. We've already talked about the whole, oh, it runs better on the PlayStation 5 Pro than it does the Series X. Oh, it has DualSense features that the Xbox version doesn't have, duh. But another interesting bit of news is that it's also selling faster in its opening week on PlayStation 5 than it did on Steam and Xbox combined. Over on the Xbox side, I mean, duh, right? Because I feel like the majority of people, or maybe not the majority of people, but a lot of people on Xbox played through Game Pass versus buying it. Xbox also doesn't release sales data at all, whether it's their consoles, whether it's their games. They go by the amount of players that have played the game. I think last time I checked, that number was like 4 million people. 4 million people have played Indiana Jones so far. So really the only direct comparison that we have is the PlayStation sales versus Steam. And through 1 week, it seems that Indiana Jones sold 117,000 copies on PlayStation versus around 92,000 on Steam. For Microsoft, for Xbox, this is one of the best case scenarios that you can ask for. You release this game, it gets strong reviews, it gets a lot of engagement and possibly signups for Game Pass subscriptions. You get decent sales on Steam, and then you release another version and get a ton more sales over on the PlayStation side. Is this the perfect scenario for fans though? On one end, loyal Xbox fans, the guys who subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate, who bought an Xbox console, they got to play it first, they got to play it through their subscription. In theory, the more money that this game makes, the more money that Xbox can potentially invest in future games, other projects, maybe other games from Machine Games or a sequel to Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. How long is that gonna last though? Because if Microsoft, they're looking at the gaming division, they're looking at Xbox, and they're all about the money right now, not so much about rewarding their loyal fans. They're about money, they're about growth. What's stopping them from just saying, screw this exclusivity window, let's drop the PlayStation 5 version of a game simultaneously with the Xbox one, like we're doing with Doom the Dark Ages, like they did with the Oblivion remaster, all of the recent Bethesda stuff, the Outer Worlds 2. Especially, I'm sure they're thinking, why didn't we just drop it during the holiday season, which is typically pretty strong for game sales and overall just people having time to play video games. Xbox fans have had to come to terms over the past year or so with the fact that we're going to be seeing a lot less true Xbox exclusives, if any. But are we also heading to this scenario where we're not even going to get exclusive windows anymore? Is that going to matter for you as a fan? It might not matter for Xbox as a business because, again, they're seeing dollar signs, they're about money. Oh, we want as many people to play as humanly possible, doesn't matter on which platform. I'm worried, especially with the success of the Oblivion remaster, that Xbox is going to say, screw it, Gears of War E-Day, PlayStation 5 version is dropping at the same time as the Xbox version. And sure, Game Pass Ultimate subscribers are going to be able to play it through their subscription, but is that a strong enough incentive? Is that a good enough reward for fans to stick around? Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing. Help me on my journey to 200,000 subs. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.